Managing someone from a different generation than your own can sometimes be tricky. Today we're going to look at a few tips to help when managing someone younger than you. I hear a lot in conversations in older generations where there's sometimes a sense that the younger generation is entitled, that their focus on work-life balance is unrealistic, selfish, and not respectful. How can we navigate these situations, though, in a way that's going to work for everyone so that we can all work together effectively, especially when you're leading somebody younger than you? The first step is really to stop looking at the tendencies as a whole group. Because within any group, of course, there's going to be variability. So yes, there may be a tendency for younger generations to focus more on work-life balance than, say, my parents' generation. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that statement is representative of every single person in either generation. So stop looking solely at group behavior and look at individuals for who they are, for their individual behaviors. From there, you need to look at the behavior that the person's exhibiting that is bothering you and looking at what is behind the behavior. So what are the differences maybe in values across the generations that are leading people to make different decisions? You can do this by having conversations with people. Ask them. So if somebody is finishing work every day at 5 o'clock and that bothers you, it may be because that person values work-life balance more than you do, and that is okay. So starting to try to understand what motivates people and what they value can help you to understand why these behaviors that are bothering you are occurring. From there, it's also important to look at why the decisions that other people make are bothering you so much. Because oftentimes, something that someone else is doing that really bothers us, it's often an indication of something that bothers us about ourselves. So for instance, if you're upset that someone else is putting limits around the amount of time that they put into their work, it may well be possibly that you have a hard time setting your own limits on when you stop working, or that you will sacrifice your own downtime, your family time to an extreme, to an extent that doesn't work for you because you feel such a need to do so. And then because the other person is setting a limit around it, that bothers you. So take a look at yourself. When you're noticing these things that bother you about someone else, ask yourself why that bothers you so much. And then beyond that, it's really looking at whether or not that behavior is infringing on what the person's responsibility is in the workplace. So someone leaving at 5 when their work obligations are to work until 5, that is their obligation. Now, if that person is leaving at 3 all the time and there's no medical reason, etc., of course, that is a problem. But looking at that line between what bothers you because it's not the patterns that you're used to, it's not what was expected in your generation, versus what is not meeting the actual obligations of that person's position can help you get clarity. And then if it is things that the person is doing that are expected of them within their conditions of employment or their contract, then address that with them, leaving out the issue of age, because the age part is irrelevant. Somebody who's not meeting their employment obligations, whether they are older than you, younger than you, for whatever reason, is a problem that needs to be discussed directly with that person. So I hope this has helped out as you get into managing people younger than you, or if you're doing this already. Again, the generation divide can be tricky, but really at the core of it, having open conversations and trying to understand who the person is and why they make the decisions they do will help get you to better collaboration.